Welcome, everybody. Dave Stevens coming to you from the home offices in Connecticut. And of course, we got my buddy Troy. He's in Minnesota. Let me bring Troy in. Troy, how are you doing tonight? And welcome to the Geary, Stein, and Stevens show. What's going on, brother?
Oh, I'm great. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited. I want to bring in a friend of mine. He made news this weekend. Of course, you may know him. He played a little baseball for 8 years in the minor leagues. He's also a friend of mine. We go way back a few years. I've known this guy, well, I actually met him at his dad's 21-31 game when he was in Baltimore. It was amazing to be a part of that and to just watch what this kid has turned into. So let me bring in, without further ado, our other guest tonight, Ryan Ripken. Ryan, it is great to see you. I know we haven't been together in person in a while, but thanks for joining us on Geary, Stein, and Stevens.
Well, Dave and Troy, thanks for having me on. And Dave, we've been well overdue, and obviously, so many things have happened in the past couple of years. So I'm just glad we finally get on here and talk and catch up, and look forward to doing the show with you guys.
And we had to have you on because I, as a good journalist, but as an even better friend, I had your secret for 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh, we're going to go on my show. We're going to break this news. And then Troy's like, hey, Dave, are you checking out Twitter? And I'm like, So can you make your official second, third, or fourth? But this is on camera. So just tell me what decision you've decided in your career.
Yeah, so obviously I don't know if I knew how I wanted this all to be planned out or how I wanted to proceed with it, but for being on camera today, and I have made the decision to move on from my professional playing career, and that was a tough decision, but it was a bittersweet moment because of all the moments, and really it's the people that you spent those times with. It was so special, and Dave, even for us, our friendship started via my career. So I have so many things to be grateful for and thankful. So it's sad that it's over, but I'm also looking forward to this next chapter in life. As one door closes, another one opens, and the journey is going to continue on.
Yeah, Ryan. So let's talk a little bit about that. A lot of baseball players, they don't really trust the media, and you've known Dave for a long time, and just talk about the friendship you have with him.
Well, Dave, so it was for me, it was 2019 in Binghamton was really where Dave and I made the connection. Binghamton, New York. And you know, right when we met, as you're trying to get to know someone, but there was an instant type of click and relaxation, and just, such a easy guy to talk to. And what I was so glad is Dave's such a personable guy. He checked in on me through the ups and downs with my career, even through COVID. So it was really cool for that moment. And Dave was checking in on me recently, and I was telling him where my head was, but I was afraid to tell the world or when to make that decision. And he was really supportive of my decision and where I wanted to go with my next step in life. So grateful for him, and now I'm just excited about where that friendship's going to continue on. And we've talked about some things off air, and I look forward to whatever those next steps are going to be. But Dave's been a nice sounding board, even though he's a media presence. He's a man of his word. He kept his secret and didn't tell anyone. And for that, that's another positive check for Dave in my notebook.
Well, thank you, my friend, and it has been great. And I know, we've talked about it a lot off the air, and it's not anything that I'm embarrassed to talk about. Like, we know who your father is, and everybody wants to talk about dad and say what was Cal like, and uncles and grandpas and things like that. But we always get away from who Ryan Ripken is, and it was important for me to just stay grounded and to know who you are. And I wonder, when you make a decision like this, are you glad to kind of put away baseball player and become just Ryan Ripken, the human being?
Absolutely. And my goal, and just like in everyone, you want to be your own person. You want to establish yourself. And that is no knock to anything that my family has accomplished, because I'm very happy for them. I'm proud of them. But as I go through life, you want to be known not as the son of, the grandson, or the uncle, or the nephew of. You want to be known as your own person. And so that is something that I've always wanted to stay true to. And even while I played, I wasn't trying to impress people and try to live up to the legacy of the name. I was trying to live up to be who Ryan Ripken was, and whatever that may be, as long as I feel that I was authentic and being myself, whether I was played well or didn't play well on that particular night, or whatever I do moving forward, I want that to be based off of my actions and decisions. So, that's kind of where I am at in my life, and that's what I live by each and every day.
We're looking at some of your action. I mean, you got to go to Aberdeen, you got to go all over. It isn't the worst job you could ever have. It's just got to be tough living in those buses and driving in those hotels and everything. As we watch you lacing a hit here going Oppo.
Oh yeah, there's nothing. We talked about this right before the air, and you asked me if I remember things. Well, of course, hitting felt like 100 chopper through the six hole, and then I ran to second. I told you I felt like I never went to second much on a single, but he threw home, so I had to get moving. But you always remember those things, and all the places that I got to be. From Auburn, New York was one of those videos you had in there. Auburn, Aberdeen, Hagerstown, Norfolk, Bowie, Frederick, Delmarva. Maybe I'm missing one, but and not even to talk about all the places you go to visit. And in each stop that I went throughout my professional career, you had so many great experiences, and even the ones that maybe didn't go the way you wanted them to go, you still have a memory or something that taught you a valuable lesson. But for all those places, I wouldn't trade this experience for the world. And again, I was very thankful to be able to play a sport for a living. And now to move on to the next step is great, but I'm even more thankful for the friendships and the memories that I had with such a great group of people. Because when you go through life, it's all about the experiences with the individuals, not with, for me, it wasn't personal, it was collective. And none of that would have been the same without the people I met along the way.
Who was the toughest pitcher you faced in your career?
Oh, toughest pitcher I faced in my career. Now, there's so many. I will say right now, it's interesting. A lot of these guys are now starting to debut or been in the majors in the past couple of years. From being on a regular standpoint, DL Hall and Grayson Rodriguez are two minor league players that are right on the cusp, but facing them on the backfields was very intimidating. Trying to think, you're putting me right on the spot with some guys. I will say, while I'm thinking of a pitcher to go with, the ones that always were the most terrifying to face sometimes weren't the ones that were always throwing the hardest. It was the ones that knew exactly what they wanted to do, and even if you knew what was happening, you couldn't hit it. And so, we played Tampa Bay a lot in AAA last year in Durham, and I felt like a lot of those guys, I had an idea of what to do, and they just executed time and time again. And you're going, man, like I feel like I know what's coming, and I still can't do anything. So, maybe as the show goes on, let me think of another name. But at least for Grayson Rodriguez and DL Hall, those guys, I'm really excited about their careers when they finally break into the majors, because, man, do they have some electric stuff.
Well, Ryan, check this out here.
In the big leagues. And now this one's a rocket to right. Way back there. Gone. Ryan Ripken. Oh, now this one's high and deep. Way back there. On its way. Gone.
Now batting, the first baseman, Ryan.
Drilled in the air, right field, way back there, and that is out of here.
Is this all in the same game?
All in the same game.
Wow.
My son Luke created that for me. Did you realize you were in MLB The Show? Did you realize you were in this year's?
Honestly, I did not. I love that I saw 99 power and contact. And overall, that was amazing. And also hitting 4 home runs consecutive. Can't say I've done that, but that was awesome. That's amazing. And that's the thing growing up. You always playing those games. I forget I played, I think, MVP baseball, and there was a game maybe just called like MLB 2001. And Ken Griffey had a game on Nintendo, but as a kid, being in a video game was always something that you enjoyed or wanted to do or be involved in. So I didn't know I was in this version. So that's amazing. Wish that could have been actually a reality in real life, but I'm glad that Ryan Ripken in the games is hitting some absolute bombs.
Okay, now that you kind of decided that you want to retire, what is your future plans, or do you have any idea what you plan on doing now?
Well, that's the exciting thing, is that I wanted to take some time to reflect and really appreciate the moment, or saying goodbye to one career. And I still have some classes online now, going back to school and finishing up. So that's something I owed it to myself, owed it to my family to finish up classes. But also, I am interested in the sports media route, and I do love talking about all types of sports. Obviously, baseball I've had a lot of history with, but I do love football, basketball, golf, tennis, you name it. I would like to think of myself as a sports fanatic. So that could be a line of work for me down the road, and I'm just going to kind of explore and see what happens over these next few weeks and months, and if there's some opportunities, great. And who knows, if there was an opportunity to get back into coaching, I'll never say never on the opportunities. I think just the bigger part for me is to now explore a world that's outside of the baseball, the confines of baseball. I was with some friends recently, and we did a trip together, and went, man, it's been 10 years since I've done a trip with anybody, as far as in the summertime and spring. Like, this is foreign to me. So definitely taking a lot of reflecting, but I have a feeling that, the media side, if the right opportunity comes about, maybe whether people like it or not, maybe they'll see my face more or pop up on more places.
Well, you got those blue eyes, man. You can tell that you're a Ripken all the way back from your grandpa and your dad and your uncle and everything. But it's ironic, Ryan. Today, we could talk about it because that's the Baseball Hall of Fame, and I'm just wondering. You and I met. You don't remember because you were what, 2 or 3 at 21-31, but
Yep.
you were a little older in 2007, and your dad, had a very emotional speech at that Hall of Fame. Today, we've got Big Poppy going in. But what are your memories of what that Hall of Fame induction was like, and what it took to get there for your dad?
Man, that I haven't been back to the Hall of Fame since 2007, and part of that was how busy my schedule is, and again, never was available in the summer. But I posted on Instagram recently. It was a photo of me at an All-Star game as a kid, and I think it was 1999 in Fenway. And what I try to tell people is it means a lot to not just the people that go through it. Obviously, the family member, like my dad, is the one that has to go walk the walk, but it's still a tremendous experience for your family, and how proud and supportive they are of the people involved. So for me, with the Hall of Fame, that was finally, I was older and had a little bit more of an understanding, and it was just great to be a part of. And I was glad to see my dad get celebrated for all the things that he accomplished. But also, my family also was a great support system for him throughout the years. And so to have that moment and to be there and to be a part of, for me, even being a part of the speech, was a really cool experience. I've actually gone back and watched my dad's speech, and me pulling out the rose from my jacket when it felt like it was 108 degrees out. But those memories and moments will stay with you forever. And I'm extremely proud of what my dad accomplished then, and what he continues to accomplish.
Well, it's pretty awesome. And stay with us here on the Geary Sign-In Show. We're going to take a break, pay some bills, and come back. And when we come back, we'll talk a little more baseball and why you still talk to this old fat guy. This is Dave Stevens, and you're hosting with us, my friend Ryan. Hopefully we'll get you in this business one way or another. But stay tuned on Geary, Stein, and Stevens. All right. And thanks to our sponsors. Yeah, we're getting sponsors. This show's getting big time. So in the next few weeks, you're going to see commercials for FanDuel, Manscaped, Pro Stance, Pepsi, and Fresh Clean Teas. Man, this is what it's all about. And I'm excited that we continue to grow and continue to get amazing guests on like Ryan Ripken as we come back. And Troy, when you watched his dad play, did you ever realize that this guy was going to be someday trying to follow in his dad's footsteps?
Yeah, I mean, we all seen the videos and the photos of you next to your dad on the field, and I'm just sure that was a great experience being around all those major leaguers as a kid. So I guess I have a question with that. Growing up, being around the clubhouse quite a bit, who are your idols besides your father that you looked up to as far as baseball players that you probably met sometime or another when you were on the field?
It was crazy to think. I tell people all the time when they say about the experience of growing up, and going, man, I thought this was my dad's job, and these are his coworkers. That's kind of how I looked at it. So it was cool. But being in the clubhouse in the '90s, I remember Mike Mussina working a lot, BJ Surhoff. Those are two guys, Brady Anderson as well. There's so many other players, Mike Bordick, all these guys. What I loved about them is they treated me the same. No one treated me. They treated me as Ryan. They were welcoming, and sometimes it can be a little bit. I can understand it's your job, and here's this little kid running around the clubhouse, but they made me feel so welcome and home. And even the former athletic trainer Richie Bancells, who retired, and the new one Brian Ebel were two guys. Brian's now the head trainer for the Orioles now. And then another cool thing, which goes even full circle, was my high school coach was Larry Sheets, and was a player with the Orioles and was drafted the same year as my dad. And he ended up being my high school coach. So that to have a full circle moment was great. And he's been a great influence with me. And his son, Gavin Sheets, is with the White Sox and have his own baseball career and path. So it's really cool to kind of come full circle at this stage of life. But all those guys I mentioned were great pros, but even better people to be around.
Okay, and what was your favorite minor league memory of your career that you remember? I mean, I know I said 8 years worth, but sorry to put you on a spot again. But
No, you're good. There's so many stories, and eventually I'm just gonna. And I have a journal of these moments, and eventually I'm going to continue to tell more and more. I would say from a kind of a funny standpoint, we had a couple bus trips where you can't make it up, or you feel like it's out of a movie. Our buses were going from Connecticut, we're leaving Connecticut to head on the road, and our bus gets hit by a foul ball. Windows busted the whole time. It starts raining. Water's coming all in through the front. People are holding on to the window to make sure it's not spraying everywhere. We get to the hotel for the night for the next road or for the next game, and they don't have enough hotel rooms. So we have to, in 2 beds, quadruple up. And you really got to get to know your teammate pretty well there. So that was very interesting, to say the least. And one of my first roommates, Garrett, I woke up with him a little bit too close, and we laugh about it to this day. But those moments are great. As far as experiences, winning the 2019 second half with Bowie was probably the most fun playing experience. I'm a big team guy, in the sense I love when you move up through the minor leagues, you understand that it's about development and not always about winning. And it also reminds you winning so hard. And so when we won in 2019 and you can celebrate that, that's so great. And there's nothing like, having some champagne showers and some beer showers and really celebrating a year of just grinding and putting in the work to try to accomplish something greater than yourself.
Ryan, now we can make it a little more serious because I see where you guys played. I saw the locker rooms. I see what life is like that on the road. And I know baseball has sort of tried to improve by getting housing and things like that, but they're really far away. And they act like they've done a great thing. Yeah, they're getting 1,400 a month or something like that. But realistically, that's tough to live on. You got a room with guys that you don't know. It changes your life. I mean, what would you do to improve the minor league lifestyle?
And I wish I could, go on here and say that I could give the right answers to everything. But from my experience, this is what I know, that when everyone thinks about a professional player going through and whether you make it to the majors, it's a lot more glamorous. But the guys in the minor leagues, for most of them, it is a grind. It is hard to sometimes be able to put money aside when you had to pay for your rent and you're trying to pay for food. So you're maybe not getting the nutrition that you need, the rest that you need, and it's really taxing on yourself. And if you have a family, trying to provide for your family, so I would love to see consistent or more and more reform for whether there's just a little bit higher of wages for the players, and keep in mind too, a lot of the guys and for minor leagues, I believe they changed the schedule now and they did it last year. It was you get one off day a week. But so essentially you're working one day a week or you get one off day a week. So for 4 weeks, it's 4 off days for the month. You're putting in so much time and effort into your everyday craft. So I just would hope that there'd be a little bit more understanding. And I'm not asking for, and I don't think the players either are expecting this massive raise, because that's also about making it to the majors. That there is such a discrepancy, but you earned it when you make it there. But for guys that are, say you're making $2,000, $3,000 before taxes, and you're trying to send that back to a family, and then maybe after all taxes and all that's said and done, you maybe have $500 to spend, and it's very challenging. And not to spend on clothes, just to spend on, food necessities.
It's got to
So
be worse it's got to be worse for the foreign players of you probably saw that they don't speak a language. They don't know what to do.
I can't even imagine. I can imagine, and I try to put myself in their shoes of when you come from, I was thinking, man, if I was playing over in the Dominican and English or Spanish wasn't my native language and I'm trying to understand, plus you're trying to understand culturally and you're not maybe having enough means to be comfortable. Now the teams do obviously they try to put you in the right positions, but if we're talking financially speaking, it is still a challenge, and guys really will, you'll hear in more and more stories. I'll let guys tell theirs about that. Sometimes you really had to scratch and claw, and you really, really had to save and be smart with your money.
Yeah, following up on that, there's a lot of ballparks that are old and outdated. So just tell me, what was the worst one that you played in?
Oh man. Worst by as far as overall, as far as for me, I loved actually playing there, but as far as facilities for the team, going to Vermont was not the best. The first couple of days we had to shower or get changed back at the hotel. Had some issues there with the clubhouse behind. They just had a fire recently too for the home team, so there were trailers around the ballpark. Now the beauty of being in Vermont is that in the summertime in the Northeast is beautiful, so that was great. But there are other examples of it. Hagerstown was an old ballpark, had great experiences with the people in Hagerstown, but it was very outdated, and the septic tank and the shower system was very outdated as well. So you feel like you're right on top of each other. There wasn't a lot of places to move around. And now with the reform with baseball, some of those stadiums, are no longer involved with affiliated ball, but it was not the easiest situation. You're not walking into, a 5-star hotel when you're on the road, and you're not going into a ballpark that's like Camden Yards every night. And even actually none of them are, but there are some great stadiums, but it's a different, very different setting for sure.
And speaking of the settings that you've been around and the things that you've been able to see, I mean, I'm sad that you're not playing baseball anymore, but I'm so excited to see what this next generation of Ryan Ripken is going to be. And I'm just wondering, do you look at it like, okay, I'm going to have to practice, I'm going to have to do this, I'm going to, for whatever you choose, it's like you're going to a new spring training in life again.
Yeah, it's for everyone in life and what you do. And this is the crazy thing, is that there is no right path of what you do and how you do it. And the traditional path is you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, and that's supposed to be the quote unquote traditional path. But then think about how many times I know so many friends and family that have switched careers, different jobs over the last 10 years. And for me, being now I'm 28, starting over, one, you've done something that you've known your entire life. But as far as in the grand scheme of how life is, you're just like with everyone else, where you just are going to have to jump into something else. If you were unhappy with your one profession, you're into the other. In this case, not that I wasn't unhappy with baseball, I would have loved to continue to play, just made the decision to move on. But whatever you're going to have to do, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to learn the ways of the business and understand that it's going to be by trial and error. I've never been on social media very much, and
I know.
and so Dave, you understand, and Troy, I always wanted to be private, and now if I'm going to be more active and maybe going to sports media down the road, that's something I have to be more comfortable with. But do I know what I'm doing? Absolutely not. Do I know how to articulate it or what works for people? No. Do I know what works for me? No. But that's kind of the fun part, right? That it is an unknown. It is scary, but the unknown is an exciting thing about, well, hey, let's find out what works. And just like with baseball, you're going in there each and every day, and maybe your swing doesn't feel good, or you're trying to get out of a slump. You try different things. So I'm trying to take those tools that I learned from playing and those lessons I learned from adversity to take this into the next chapter of my life. And who knows, I might be really good, might be really bad at the next thing, but it's going to be a process and a journey regardless.
Well, people don't realize, because you haven't done a lot of interviews, but you are eloquent. You do talk well. And but I'm going to give you the 160 minutes question. You thought you were going to get out of here with these easy softball questions, right? Okay. Yep. Your father had the Iron Man, as far as playing in consecutive games. How tough was that mentally and emotionally for you to be Ryan Ripken and to have injuries and be breaking down and everybody go, oh, you're not like your dad, but like they don't understand the game. So what was that like for you to have everybody go, you're not playing every game and you don't have streaks and those kind of things? I can't even imagine how bad that would have sucked, honestly.
Yeah, really starting to get into high school is when I got the first real glimpse of that pressure. And then getting into pro ball, it definitely felt like it magnified as well, that no matter what I did, it was never going to be good enough. And as an individual, that can be very frustrating. That bothered me more in high school than it did as I got into pro ball, because you mature, you get older. But I remember, I started off my career with back-to-back ankle injuries. And I had a torn ligament the first time and never healed. It re-injured, had to get surgery. So I missed about a year and a half to start my career. And I had people that would talk about just saying, your family has to be very disappointed. Your dad has to be, clearly you're not on the same path of your dad. And what I try to remind people all the time is, not every person is the same. And I would love to have the career that my dad had, but I'd like to say a lot of people would want to have the career that he had. He was the one of 1% that had all this success. And that's something that it reminds you that baseball is so hard, regardless of who your family is or what they've accomplished. And so for me, I came to peace with, especially after the injuries, and actually when my career, when I was let go by the Nationals and I came to the Orioles, and it was a big reset, was understanding that I am my own person. I'm not out here to prove anything to anybody else but to myself. And what I've told you too, Dave, that if people are not going to like me, I want them to not like me for being Ryan, but for all the perceptions and the expectations, that weighed on me. But as soon as I said, you know what, I'm Ryan, that's all I want to be, you remember that that's what the most important thing in life is. But yeah, was it always easy and fun? No, it wasn't. But again, those moments made it stronger for me, and I learned a valuable lesson.
Well, this will make you laugh. Dave told me off camera after he met you, your batting average went up. So,
oh, that was a fact. You know, and it's funny because then I think Dave sent me a message of saying, I'm not going to say it's me, but I think it might be me. And then I remember, I think we didn't talk for a little bit and I got a little bit of a slump. And then he goes, hey, texting you back, you know, see your, you know, hope everything goes well. Then I went back on a streak and I said, I don't know why you're not sending me a message every day, because for baseball, as we know, being superstitious, if something works, whether you understand why or how, I want it. So props to Dave. It was right after the end of July, I believe exactly is when we met. And August was a great month for me.
It's thank you. I was being silly, but
No,
it's just such great memories, you know, just because and again, I've enjoyed getting to know you and our personal conversations more than watching you play and those kind of things. And just watching you turn into the man that you have become. So I'm excited for you and your family and your sister and your mom and everybody out there to see this new Ryan.
You know, I am too. I'm excited to, you know, continue the relationships and the guys and the people that I met, that those relationships will continue to grow. And I'm excited about what's going to be offered, you know, moving forward. And, you know, I brought up earlier in the show, you know, life has so many different paths and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what to expect. But on that journey, there's a lot of great things. There's going to be a lot of bad things as well. But you're going to have some people that come into your life that can really change how you view things and also experiences. Life's about experiences. So I'm excited to see what those experiences are going to hold. Hopefully they are filled of all these memories that I just had in the last years. And I'm sure that there's going to be that and so much more.
All right. Troy, closing thoughts?
well, I appreciate you joining us today. You have a lot of great insight and stories. And I think if you ever wanted to write a book, that would be a good idea.
I appreciate it, Troy. Maybe that'll be down the road.
And he's got those Hollywood eyes like that, you know, you got to market those or do something. And you got stuff going on with tequila and all kinds of stuff that we should be looking forward to in the future, right?
Yeah, I'm going to try to have more fun and show my personal side a little bit more. So for anyone that's starting to follow me on social media, stay tuned. I'll try to give more insight and to see that I really am more of a goof than I am. As you said, I'm eloquent. Maybe I am sometimes with speaking, but I like to have fun. And I like to look forward to sharing all these experiences with everyone.
All right, Ryan, we'll talk off camera down the road. Troy, for you, Will's not here. And for me, I'm Dave Stevens. Continue to follow us on all social media platforms. That's a wrap.